Ladies and gentlemen, the American German Bulldog Nation, I did a very long, about 25-minute video about physical health. And now I'm going to do some video advice to you about your mental health. I'm not a doctor. It's all based upon what I have to do, what I've done, what I know works. I want to begin with a maxim of mine. I've coined this phrase, and it's the truth. And you got to always remember this. You can't be more happy. Once you're happy, you're happy. So many people screw up their lives trying to get more happy. Happy is a state of mind, and once you're happy, you're happy. So whatever you got. Be happy with it. Another thing it's called contentment. If you're content, you're happy. Another thing that you need to accept for your mental health, and I'm being serious, you start with this, is that everyone dies. You have to accept that. I have to accept that. We all die. Why is that important for your mental health? Because you have to put that in context of how you deal with everything, your mindset, okay? And it's a positive. In other words, you can't get too worked up about certain things. All right, love. Love is critical for your mental health. I have learned on personal experience, observations, you know this, you're going to agree with me, is that if you can find love, you're almost all the way there with your mental health, because that is a state that you have that helps you across the board dealing with everything. Living a life without love is not good at all. People who live a life full of love live longer. Proven fact. Recalibration. By the way, all my tips are in no particular order. Recalibration. This is a word that I use that you have to be constantly doing. When you have a rough day, whatever, you have to do what it takes. And let me tell you what my recalibration techniques are. All of these things I do every day are always recalibrating me. 1, an exercise. 2, a nap. 3, let's shoot straight here. Sex is a nice recalibration. 4, I go into a movie, watching a good show, having a good dinner, spending a good time with a friend. Anything that recalibrates you. Remember, you need to take advantage of every minute of every day. Why? Because God can strike you down any day, at any time. As bold as I am that I'm planning on living to be 100 years old and I take good care of myself and everything else, I also accept the fact that God can give me that random pancreatic cancer, or a bus hit me, or I'm a victim of terrorism, a bomb goes off here, whatever, at any given time. All right, this is a unique thing to me, Josh and Jamie. I call it wallowing. I've had so many people call me up, friends and whatnot, and they'll have bad news or whatever. They got fired, somebody died, whatever. And you know what I tell them to do? People will say, oh, be cheerful, be cheerful. I said, nope. My advice is wallow in it. You got to get it out of your system. So wallow. Girlfriend breaks up with you, boyfriend breaks up with you, whatever. Wallow for a while. Now, the key is a while, not forever. But you know what? You got to get out of your system. And here's why I say this. If you wallow for a while, you get sick of wallowing. You say, okay, I'm done with that crap. So wallowing is important. All right. Mind and body. Folks, you're going to have better mental health if you got good physical health. So watch my physical video. They go hand in hand. Unbelievable. Perspective. You got to have perspective. I keep a running list of people that I've known close to me that have died. It's unbelievable. I'm up to like 150 people in my entire life. I'm 60 years old now. I recently, for example, John Yeager died, built our house, 79 years old, got cancer, 7 months. Wow. Okay. Then you have people who've had bad stuff happen to them. They're not dead, but they, some kind of bad things happen to them. And I'll meet, sometimes it's new. I find out something about somebody I know. I'm like, wow, they live with that every day. I make that list. Why do I do this? And why do I look over? You ought to try it. I'm being serious. You look over that list and you think to yourself, wow, my life's pretty damn good. All right. Carpe diem, seize the day every day. Watch Dead Poets Society. If you're having a bad day, watch Dead Poets Society. It'll give you perspective. One of my favorite movies. Prayer. All you holy rollers are probably saying, when's he going to mention God? When's he going to mention God? Well, folks, prayer always helps. You know what? Prayer is one of those things. It's like working out. You know what? Maybe it didn't do you any good. At least you don't think it did. I can tell you one thing. Prayer never hurts. Ever. When people say, one of the neatest things that I like getting from people is when they say they're praying for me. Because I tell you right now, the more people I got praying for me, I'm happier. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Attitude. There's that great thing about you can't control a lot, but you control your attitude about everything. That's a fact. Positive attitude. Folks, I'm lucky. I'm one of these people that always sees things, the glass half full instead of half empty. My dad used to bitch at me about it. You know, he's Mr. Pessimist. I was Mr. Positive. You always see things through rose-colored glasses. Well, it's better than the other way. Bingo. Gratitude. I learned this from my buddy Chuck Holbrook because it's part of the AA thing, and it is a fact. You want to get your life together, mental health better, have a life full of gratitude instead of bitching about everything. Again, that perspective list, that makes me, I am so grateful for my mental and physical health. All right, perspective. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Perspective. When I have a really bad day, which is rare, really, I go home, I say, well, at least I don't have cancer. And I think about one of my friends. I have a client and a friend recently diagnosed with cancer out of the blue. My God, they're going to have a battle that I don't have to go through. Friends are great mental healthers. You got to get it out. You got to waller. You got to bitch. You got to complain. You always feel better after talking to a friend, right? I mean, I got to listen to Jamie Spindley moan and groan every day about all of his woes. He feels better after sharing them with me. You know, all the things that Anna does. I'm just teasing, Anna. All right. Counseling. Folks, I was one of these guys. I'm a guy, right? So counseling sucks, whatever. So my wife and I went to some marriage counseling. That's probably been 5 years ago. It saved my marriage. And I became buddies with the counselor. I really like this guy. I can tell you right now, completely changed my mind. Counseling works. You know why counseling works? Now, you got to get the right counselor. You got to get the right person for you, your issues, and you need a positive counselor. You need a counselor who's a problem solver. But to share your woes with the person that maybe you're sharing with, and then to have that perspective come back at you. I mean, one time I came out of a counseling session so beat up, my wife said, "You need a hug?" And another time you come out of the session and it's like, well, he agreed with me on that one. It's actually kind of fun. You got a neutral arbitrator. Counseling works. Do not be afraid to go to counseling. In fact, I'm convinced before you shuck any marriage, you ought to go to counseling. All right, purpose. We all know this. You got to have purpose in your life. Because if you're a nihilist, you know, Nietzsche, life has no meaning, you're going to be freaking miserable. Because guess what? You can't live a life. You can be in that dark place. Life has no meaning. Find your purpose. My purpose in life is fighting the man for people. That's my purpose. It's my calling. It makes me fired up every day. Folks, you got to live your life. So you might as well do it with some kind of purpose. None of us choose to be born. We're here. You got to deal with it. Might as well make the most of it. Expect stuff. This is great. It's been proven scientifically that those people, like me, that expect bad crap to happen every day and know that they're just going to deal with it are happier than the people that try to get everything lined up all perfect. Because guess what? There's always curveballs. My day, every day has a meeting that doesn't happen for whatever reason. A phone call that doesn't happen for whatever reason. Stuff doesn't get, life happens. Okay, I gotta get a document prepared. The person who's going to type that calls in sick. Oh, in fact, you know, let me see, is it 40? It's not 40, it's down a little bit. 25, maybe it is 40 employees. Guess what, folks? Every day something's going to happen to those 40 people. It's just called life. We all have stuff happen to us. Expect stuff. Take action, folks. It is better to take action than not action. You'll feel better. Don't ignore problems. Being an ostrich is stupid. Burying your head in the sand doesn't work. Lists. Make lists. Why? It keeps you organized. I am a list maker. I keep my day organized. I reprioritize it. Let me show you right here. This is my to-do list, okay? And then I take my list, and then I highlight stuff in it, and then I re-highlight stuff in it, and once a week, I redo my list. That's the way you stay organized. Why is this important? An uncluttered life gives you better mental health. Calendar. You got to keep a calendar of things, folks. You have to keep a calendar. You have to have things written down so you don't forget. You know what's the worst thing that happens to mental health? Uncertainty. So the more things that you can have in control, better mental health. Planning. You got to plan. Plain and simple. It speaks for itself. Priorities. I am constantly reprioritizing. The number one thing for your mental health, balance in all things. Balance in all things. All things. Laugh. I sent a text out at the end of the day yesterday to the office, and I said, we have so much fun every day laughing. And we did. And then they proceeded to make me laugh some more. I mean, we are in ear, aren't we? Yeah. We are in ear. I told a self-deprecating story about myself that made them all laugh. And then it went off the rails from there. In other words, I make fun of myself. By the way, being self-deprecating is really funny. But I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it continued to this morning. But our office, everybody who works in our office, nobody's ever worked at a more fun place to work. And by the way, we are not creepy. We don't. It's an office full of men and women. Everyone's respectful. There's no prudes. Nobody goes over the line. It's a fun place to work. It's balance, but we laugh. Be witty and wise. All right, here's a technique that I use. I call it first blood. I never punch figuratively first. I let the other side be a jerk. Of course, it doesn't take long for a guy like Chris Wiest to be a jerk. And then you punch back. I call it the first blood technique. Redeeming qualities. When you're judging people, always look at them and say, I don't like this. Is there something about them? I'm talking about friends, people close to you. Do they have a redeeming qualities? One of the best advice that I told my kids when they were growing up, when they had a fight with a friend, and I said, guys, if you end a friendship every time your friend does something to you you don't like, you're not going to have any friends. It's called relationship. Jamie does something every day that makes me want to just get away from him forever. But I forgive him. You got to look, do they have redeeming qualities? Stress. Folks, you got to deal with stress. And the way you deal with stress for your mental health is recalibrate. Exercise. Sex. Whatever. What helps you relieve stress? Live longer. You know how you live longer? By taking care of your physical, mental health. Support. You got to have support, folks. You got to support. Let's face it, it comes from your spouse, your coworkers, your friends. I mean, you got to have support. Feeling of accomplishment. It's important and good that every day you feel like you accomplished something. Because when you accomplish something, you feel better. For example, when I beat Jamie in chess, it makes me feel better about myself. Celebrity versus real. Never forget, folks. And by the way, I've been involved. I mean, I've gone to Mar-a-Lago. I've been around. I spent a week with Pete Rose. I've been around all that, folks. I'm telling you right now, you need to know that what reals matters, not fake celebrity crap. Comparison is the happiness killer. It's okay to compare to thrive and better yourself. But if you play the comparison game, it is a happiness killer. There is always somebody richer, better looking, whatever. The comparison is the happiness killer. For example, Jamie, okay, is really good at gymnastics. Okay, he's average at chess. He sucked at softball. So he shouldn't compare himself to other softball players.
That's true.
All right, be in the mood. Now, you're going to laugh at this, but this is a big one. There are certain things you should not do unless you're in the mood. There are certain people that call me, text me, and it's like, I don't want to have this phone call because I'm not in the mood to have the phone call. It's a big joke of people around me. Eric's not in the mood, or I'll say to people, I said, I'm not in the mood. Be in the mood when you do stuff. It helps. All right. Stop thinking of normal time for activities. This is huge. They try to create this thing, breakfast, lunch, dinner, exercise, but that's BS. That is BS. Stop thinking of normal times. You get 24 hours in a day. When's the best time to sleep? When's the best time? Get out of the norms. You'll find your life better. Time. They will tell you. Really filthy rich people say this. I saw John Bon Jovi say this at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The most precious commodity that's the same for everybody is time. How do you choose to use your time affects your mental health. Okay? Jamie spends his time watching too much soccer and losing to me in chess. It's not very good for his mental health. Stuff. Small stuff. One of the best books I've ever written was Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And then there's small stuff at work, small stuff. I bought them all and read them all. They're easy to read. Nice toilet book. Don't sweat the small stuff. No one chooses life. I like to bring that up because, we're stuck here. Nights and lights. This is crazy. Some of this stuff's so random, but I just want to give you a tip. If you got to do some work at night, turn on all your lights. Guess why? You won't be as sleepy and tired. At 2 o'clock in the morning sometime, I'll turn on all the freaking lights in the house because it makes me feel awake. All right, goals. Be constantly having short goals, long-term goals. You got to have both. Procrastination. Don't procrastinate. Do today what you don't have to put off tomorrow. When I always make myself do that one more thing every day. It makes my life better. Joining. It's a proven fact, folks. Americans especially are joiners. The more joining you have, the better. For example, I started this thing this past year where I had a croquet club once a Thursday, had people come over and play croquet. I started a bunch of buddies of mine playing euchre. We're playing chess tonight. Joining things you like. There's nothing worse than joining something you don't like. All right, I'm going to give you some philosophy. All right. By the way, Jordan Peterson isn't on my list, but I really recommend you try out Jordan Peterson, a modern day guy. Read Stoicism. Stoicism is the way to rule your life. Check out Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, read his stuff. You'll be better. All right, faith. Can't beat faith, man. Faith, hope, and love. Have faith. I've always thought about this. The best citizens, in my opinion, and the happiest people. And by the way, I don't go to church every day, but they're the people that are the things you want to do. Work out, get up early, go to church. They're tough to do, but you're always happier when you do them. The Serenity Prayer. If you remember one prayer, remember the Serenity Prayer. What's the Serenity Prayer? Remember what it is. It's to accept what you have to accept, solve what you want to solve, and be able to accept the difference. Because some things you can solve, some things you can't, and you got to be able to accept them. All right, small steps. Start out with small steps. No stuff's coming. I already covered that. Peace about your death. You got to have peace that that's going to happen one day. I find it comforting to know all the rich and famous people that came before me all died, and I got to do it too. I find that comforting. My last thing is guard against the 7 deadly sins, all for your mental health. What are those? Pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, sloth. Last but not least, I didn't put it on here. Don't be afraid to take medication. Remember, exercise is your best for mild depression. But folks, we all need a little help from time to time. Do not be afraid to take appropriate medication that's going to help you with your mental health. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.